Hello everyone and welcome to Team Relative Position's final project presentation.
Our game, Relative Position, was always intended to be a two-dimensional side-scroller platforming game with the core concept or mechanic being player teleportation, being able to teleport from point A to point B. And through all the prototyping and iterations that we did, this never changed.
So I skipped ahead to level 2. Level 1 is basically a tutorial level, and you only start seeing really cool features in level 2 and beyond. So this is the chapel room. It's one of two of our splitting path rooms, which is kind of what we wanted to focus on. We wanted the game to kind of have a labyrinth, catacomby feel to it. So, I mean, here's the right path, and then we have a left path over here, and we're going to go take a look at an example of the player using the environment to solve a puzzle. So, as we proceed up to the puzzle, this is basic uses for teleportation. This is kind of a small space. It's pretty difficult to jump through. As you can see, the avatar has a little bit of difficulty getting through that simply by jumping. So if we get close enough and then teleport through, ta-da! Alright, so here's the one of the first puzzles the player encounters. This is a mechanic that kind of came late in the game. Here we get a hint that the boulder is somewhat loose, but then this object will start glowing. The player can press E and the items collected, allowing them to, break down this rock. And now I want to talk about what I think to be one of our coolest features is object teleportation. When the mouse cursor goes over an object that can be manipulated, it'll turn blue, and if the player holds down the right mouse button and then holds and releases, it'll move to wherever the mouse cursor is. And this is used to create and the player can overcome a pretty complex series of challenges. We used them in this particular challenge to open up a set of doors so that they can proceed to the next area.
The main thing that I believe worked within our group, however, was communication. Our group tended to communicate very often and very frequently, and we always had 3 meetings a week, 4 if you also include the teacher meeting at the beginning of each week. And we all made sure that we could all lend a helping hand if we needed to. We always communicated, made sure everyone knew what each other was working on within the game, and we didn't ever seem to be working on the same thing unless it came to that, as a last resort type thing. Like if something was really troublesome and really hard, we tended to work on that. 2 or more people tended to work on it, but mostly everyone worked on their own unique separate thing. And this really helped move the game along, and we got progress done really quickly and efficiently, and we always tended to get our milestone goals done either on time or even early, and it still ended up being great.
One thing that didn't work quite as well as we'd hoped is that the teleportation mechanic, while it functions exactly pretty much how we had wanted it to initially, it's a little bit sketchy in some areas where, if you try to teleport to a place where the pawn cannot physically fit into, if the space is too small, the player will not teleport, will not move at all. So, unfortunately, the visual and audio feedback for teleportation will spawn, so it's a little confusing for the player, and we have not been able to find a fix for it, but have tried to address this in our level designs and not create areas that are angled or too narrow, so to hopefully help alleviate this issue.
In conclusion, this was a lot of fun. I feel like our game was pretty successful and was well-rounded, and though it did change quite a bit from our original plan, I feel like it was actually really well made. There were a couple rough edges, of course, but we simply did not have enough time to round them out, or they weren't really problem areas. But for the most part, I feel like our game was extremely successful, and I feel like we set out to do something, and we did succeed in the teleportation game that we had originally set ourselves to make. Thank you for anyone who has actually played the game and anyone who has watched this video. I hope you have some fun with the game that we made, and Have a nice day.